Peace and blessings from a Christ lifestyle. Thank you for joining us.
Hey everyone, how y'all doing? I'm Brother Taz Doctor, Sister Zakai from a Christ lifestyle.
So thank you for joining us today. We are going to talk about our story, and we're going to get into the good, the bad, the ugly, the interesting parts of it and the parts that were hard. Shalom, sis. The parts that were hard, and hopefully be able to help some of you out, where you're at right now in your relationship, or the relationship that may be coming, and make sure you don't make, some of the same mistakes that we made, and be better off. So with that, we're going to get started.
Yeah, we're going to share some tips. Hopefully this, the information we bring out, hopefully our story will help, someone that's listening with their story, as far as like if they're in a relationship, or if you're single and, and you're on the verge of becoming a relationship. Is that on the verge? Because when they're on the verge of becoming, what does that mean?
They're about to be in a relationship.
They're about to be in a relationship. So if you're about to be in a relationship, so some of the stuff that we're about to share tonight, most are willing will be beneficial to y'all, What's going on, everyone? If y'all can, just take a second to share it, take a quick second to share it so we can get some more people up in here. We're going to start off. So let's talk about our story.
Yeah. Before we even start, if we say anything that, resonates with you or you agree with or you've been there, just drop a 2. Drop the number 2. As many times as you want. It helps us out. We're creating a really vulnerable space. So drop a 2 if you agree with us. And, it gives us motivation as well. So we can start with how we met.
I was on crutches. She looked like, what? I was on crutches when we met. Nah, how we met though? How do we meet?
All right. So what happened was, it was either Christmas Day or Christmas Eve, and I was at the time I was with a young girl who was like a little sister to me, and so her and I had decided that. I had told her, she was really, really young at the time. I had told her, I was like, hey, listen, instead of, just sitting around waiting for things to happen on Christmas, let's go out and let's go make some sandwiches and give some food and stuff out to the homeless. And she was like, okay, no problem. So I went, I picked her up, and we went to Penn Station in Newark, New Jersey, and we walked around and we just handed out sandwiches and things like that to people who were in the area, who were in need or appeared to be in need, people who were hungry and things like that.
So you was about your father's business then?
Yes.
Oh, that's good right there. So that's one. So that's one thing. Just being on the path to doing your father's business, the Most High's business, no matter what situation you're in, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's good right there. And while you was on your way to Penn Station, to hand out sandwiches. It was like you said, it was Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. I was on crutches, and I was like, you know what? I had some brothers in New York. They was out there doing ministry, street preaching, handing out flyers. So I was like, you know what? I'm sitting here with my family. I don't do Christmas anymore. What can I do to go? What can I do right now? So I hopped on my crutches to my car.
Why were you in crutches?
I was in crutches. I had something happened with my foot. I used to have a job where I used to walk all the time. Something happened with my foot. A heel spur. That's what you call it. I had a heel spur. So I had a big boot on my foot. You know what I'm saying? So I had a big boot on my foot. So I was like, let me. What you laughing at, the boot on my foot?
Go ahead, keep going.
She laughing at the boot on my foot. So therefore, the boot was on my foot. So I drove to Penn Station, Newark. Because I was like, I'm going to go to New York and do some street preaching and everything like that, So I drove to Penn Station, Newark. She was on her way to Penn Station, Newark, and what happened from there?
All right. So me and the girl, we were walking around, and I had seen this guy who was standing against the wall, and he had locks, and he was on crutches.
That's me. That was that guy. I was the guy with locks, like I got locks now, and I was on crutches. Y'all gonna like this story. It's really the story of love. This could be a movie.
So,
I love story could be a movie.
So,
What's up, family?
So I saw him, and I was like, oh, let's go give him a sandwich. And she was like, oh, okay. So we walked over to him, and I handed him a sandwich, like a bag with a sandwich, a water bottle. I think it had like crackers in it or something like that. And he was like, nah, I'm good. I don't want that. And I was
thought
like,
I was homeless.
babe, I'm going to get to that.
But you thought I was homeless?
But you're jumping ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So, Shalom, sis. So, I was like, okay, so I gave it to him, and he was like, nah, I'm good, I don't need that. And I was like, I've done it a couple of times, and I know some people who are outside, they don't like meat because it may make them sick if they haven't had meat in a long time or whatever. So I was like, it don't got no meat, like, it's good, it's no pork, no meat, nothing. And he was like, nah, I'm not homeless. And I'm like, oh, okay, So he just didn't want to take it. But I was like, at some point I think I told you, like, you don't have to be proud. Like, if you're hungry, if you're just standing there and you're hungry, like, it's fresh food, there's nothing wrong with it. He was like, nah, I'm good. And so from there, he started asking me, like, why are you out here? And so I started explaining to him, we wanted to do something different for Christmas. Like, we wanted to give versus, like, waiting to get and stuff like that. So he, found that very interesting, and then that's how we met.
Yeah, and as I'm talking to her, I'm asking her different questions, and then I started sharing, certain things that she didn't know about the scriptures. I started sharing her things like that, like right then and there. Mm-hmm. And I also had, I given her a flyer. On that flyer, I wrote my number on it because our flyers at that time, our church flyers at that time, didn't have no phone number, I believe. I didn't have no phone number on it. So it just had a location. So I was like, I wrote my phone number. Not, she was attractive, but I wasn't out there. She was attractive, but I wasn't out there for that. You know what I'm saying? I was strictly about the Most High. I was like, you know what? Mm-hmm. I'm asking her, see what she about. You know what I'm saying? So I give her a flyer. Like, this is the number that you can call if you want to visit the church or if you have any questions about what's in the flyer. But check this out. Before the Most High is how he orchestrates everything is so amazing, because what happened was while I was driving trying to find a parking spot, and this was before we met, while I was driving trying to find a parking spot at Penn Station, I seen her, right? I seen her, and I was pulling up because I thought she was pulling out, and she was parking. So I'm like, oh man, I was like, wow. It's like, I'm being honest, like, oh, this is pretty lady right there, but she got my spot. What is wrong with her? I don't know. So I kept driving, and then, so when I finally came back around and finally was hopping to Penn Station, she bumped into him. Like, wow, this is the woman I just took my parking space and everything like that. So the Most High really just orchestrates time, puts us in the right time at the right place at the right time and everything like that. So, one thing that I would say is for, if you're single watching this, focus on doing the Most High's work. If you're single watching this, you don't have that significant other in your life right now, just focus on doing the Most High's work, and He's going to put you in the right place at the right time with the right person. Now, it may take a year. It may take 5 months. It may take 5-6 years. But the thing is, if you're focused on Him and His will, you will meet that right person, And so I just told her the other day, right? I said, you know what? I thank the Most High in Christ for the bad relationships that I've been through that didn't last. Because I said, if they lasted, I wouldn't be here with you. You know what I'm saying? So that's game, brother. That's how you drop that. What's his name to it too? But that's on something else. But yeah, but I did tell her that. You know what I'm saying? But that's very true. So focus on the Most High. Focus on the Most High's work and everything like that.
If y'all agree with anything, just drop a 2. Supporters, drop a 2. Drop a 2. Go ahead. You can keep going.
Yeah. So definitely focus on the Most High's work and everything like that. And so I gave her the flyer with the phone number on her. I heard nothing from her for about like 5-6 months or something like that.
No, it was like 3 to 4 months.
3 to 4 months.
Yeah.
So I didn't hear nothing from her for about 3 to 4 months. She finally texted, and when she texted, it wasn't just like, hey, how you doing? It was like, hi, what is this? I read over this flyer. What does this mean? So she just had a lot of biblical questions at that time, So I was just going back and forth with her, just sharing the information, sharing information that that I had available to me and everything like that. So.
And throughout that whole time, while we were talking, like, he did not once, try to, like, hey, let's meet up, let's, talk about something else. Like, he kept it on what he gave me that flyer for, and it spoke volumes to me. Like, he's serious about this work. He's not, just giving me a flyer and then telling me about scriptures, and then now, he's trying to, do, so that speaks volumes. So yeah.
So that happened, and while all that was going on, I was working on myself. I had some personal things that was going on within my life. So this is another tip. While you're focusing on the Most High and doing that work, if you're single, definitely be working on yourself. So me as a man, I was working on myself. It was certain things that I was still struggling with. I had some personal situations going on. I had 3 children, two baby mothers. I had different things that I was working on. So tip for brothers, definitely focus on working on yourself before you even get into a relationship. So you don't come into a relationship with I'm not going to say with no baggage, because we all come in with some type of baggage, right. You know what I'm saying? But not too much baggage. You have your baggage under control. You're able to work. Why is she laughing?
You have your baggage under control.
Yeah, you got your baggage under control. Like, come on, okay. Prime example, like you go to the grocery store, you walk in the house, you got like 10, 5 or 6 grocery bags and everything
right,
like that.
2 on your shoulder.
Yeah. If you don't have them under control, you dropping bananas, you dropping everything out the bag and everything like that. So you gotta have your baggage under control. You know what I'm saying? Baggage under control. Get your baggage under control. You know what I'm saying? So definitely, you want to work on yourself and get your baggage under control. And for the brothers out there, that goes into learning how to control your flesh. Learning how to be a leader. Because once you get in a relationship, you're supposed to be the leader. You're supposed to be the head of your household, be the head in that relationship. You know what I'm saying? So you definitely, want to work on being a leader. Also, you need to, work on things that you're struggling with. Focus also on, I would say, this is big, but you gotta focus on financial stability. Mm-hmm. Focus on financial stability, brothers. You don't want to be coming into a relationship. It's not all about the money, but you want some type of stability. You don't want to be coming into a relationship that you making ends meet with yourself. Next thing you know, now you got a wife, and how you gonna make it? You know what I'm saying? So you want to focus. Those are 3 things that you should definitely focus on. And for the sisters, what would you say for the sisters? Like, what was you focusing on, or what would you give them?
Yeah, I would say if you're single, because we've all been there. And if you are there, I would say the same thing. You really do have to focus on yourself. If you have any insecurities, you got to handle that now. Mm-hmm. That's the thing to handle now. If you have trust issues, you got to handle that now, right? If you have issues with trauma and you have not gone to therapy, you need to handle that now.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Now's the time to open up that can of worms, get everything out, address everything that needs to be addressed, because once you come into a relationship and you are now uniting with another person, that's not the time for you to, of course you're going to work on yourself and throughout the relationship, but you're going to be focused on working on yourselves together, and it will just be easier for you if you address all of those things before you get into a relationship.
And drop the number 2 if you hear what we're saying, and drop some hearts. Go ahead.
Yeah, drop a 2 if you agree. One thing that, was going on while I was single, and I felt like I did not get the memo, right? Like I was going to, I was church hopping at one time, and everywhere I went, and it felt like everybody who was my age was already married. And I was like, and I was young at that time, and I was like, yo, what is going on? Like, I didn't get the memo. And everyone is married. and I felt pressured, and I just felt like, yo, what am I going to do? Like, am I going to be in my 30s and still be single? So what I had to do was get out of that mind state and literally put the work of the Lord first. That's literally what I did. I was like, you know what? This person's in a relationship. This one's married. These people are dating. It's working out for all of them. That's fine. My time will come when the Lord says my time is going to come. But right now, I'm going to get all my work in, right? So I was doing all different types of things. And that's what I had my mind on. I was busy on doing the work of the Lord. And that's what the scripture says.
Wow, we on one accord. That's what I'm saying. Go ahead.
That's what that scripture says. Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart. And that's exactly how it worked out for me. I met my husband.
And also seek the kingdom first, and all other things will be rewarded to you. Go ahead.
And that's exactly how I met my husband. I'm doing the works, right? I'm not out there, trying to put myself out there. I'm not, I'm doing what needs to be done. I'm seeing what needs to be done, and I just get moving on it. And that's literally how I met my husband.
Yeah, and so, and also with that, what she's going about saying with, she had to work on herself and, we got things under control. And it's not saying that when you're in a relationship, you're going to come in perfect, but you need to be working on yourself so when you come on, it's not that much baggage, or like I said, you got it under control. Because so many times, in relationships, if those issues aren't resolved before they come in, you come into the relationship with that with those issues, and what happens? You're bickering and beefing over things that may have happened in your past that you never resolved, but now you're taking it out or not knowing how to deal with the person that you're with because of all that baggage, because you never got it under control.
And then meanwhile, you don't know that the reason why you're going back and forth is because of the baggage.
Because of the baggage. That's very true right there. So and that's why it's very important to, focus on, do the works of the Most High, focus on yourself, and then, once you're focusing on yourself, when you focus on yourself and you're getting this baggage under control, guess what? You start knowing what you want. The scripture said, when I was a child, I thought as a child. But as I got older, now paraphrase, as I got older, basically you thought as a man. So the woman I wanted when I was 15, the woman I wanted when I was 18, the woman when I was 20, 21, all that, I thought that's what I wanted, but I didn't realize what I wanted till I was older, and I had focused on myself. I focused on the Most High and focused on myself, and then I knew what kind of woman that I wanted, and I knew I wanted a woman that was just, in the Word, that was going to be, follow the Word just like me, was going to read, study, and then just be a support structure for me, and a little feisty. I like a little feisty. That's on another note.
Okay. So that's how we met. So drop a 2 if you agree with anything we're saying. Support us with that.
Also hit the share button. Hit the share button if you can share it on your timeline. Come on, go ahead, baby. So
finally, years later, we decided to move forward. And we did that, for several reasons, right? One of those reasons is that we were on one accord. And when I say that, I mean we were on one accord as far as wanting to serve the Lord, obviously. We were on one accord as far as how we perceive the world, our perception. So we got on the same page, and that was just one of the reasons. Another reason was we enjoyed doing the works. And that was kind of our foundation. Even when we first got married, even before we got married.
Before we got married, we would go out there and do the works.
We were going out there and just doing the works, and that's what we were doing, right?
And this is not tooting our own horn or nothing like that. We're just telling you how we was on one accord and putting the Father, doing the Father's will. Go ahead. And then the next thing is that I realized, that I had a man in front of me. You had a what? What you had? Say it again. Y'all didn't hear what she said. If you heard what she said, Yeah, put a heart. Throw some hearts up in there. I don't see no hearts going on. Say what you say. You had a what?
I'll say it again. I realized that I had a man in front of me.
She ain't had no boy. You had a what?
I had a man.
Not a little boy.
A man.
Not a young boy.
A man.
You had a man.
I had a man.
She remind me of Color Purple when she said, I was married now. If y'all saw Color Purple, y'all know what I'm talking about. Go ahead.
So the biggest thing, you know, to me, and you know, I'll put this out there as well, you know, while during my time of like the dating life, right, like the single Christian girl dating life, you know, I realized that, you know, I always felt like I just needed someone who was more mature than me. I needed someone who was older than me. I needed someone who was authoritative. I needed a leader. I needed someone strong. And I didn't realize that I needed those things until I saw it in front of me. So, you know, after that, I could I think about it later on and I realize that, you know, it's true that young girls will want someone who reminds them of their father. You know, my father made me feel secure. You know, when my father was home, I felt like, okay, I can just go to my room, chill, like there's nothing to worry about. But when my father wasn't home, when he was working or whatever, I felt like, okay, I got to watch the house, you know, and having him home gave me security. And so when I met him and I spent time with him, he gave me that same secure feeling, you know, that same like, I got you, I'm going to protect you, that I did not feel when I was dating other men. So
there wasn't men, there was boys.
Okay. Boys. When I was dating boys. You know, I didn't feel that security. And so when I was with him, I felt that security. I felt that protection. I felt that hedge. And I was like, you know what? This is what I want to feel like when I'm married. I want to feel this. And so that's what got me moving forward. Why did you move forward?
Why did I move forward? You were just, honestly, it was just the point. We were on one accord, and we're going to say that because I found it, like, when I saw her, right, when I bumped into her and she offered me a sandwich, and it was like, when I asked her, like, what are you doing out here? What are you doing out here? She was like, you know, she's just out here with this, with her little sister at that point in time, foster sister, I believe it was, and she was like, well, I'm just out here, you know, just handing out sandwiches to the needy, and it was like, you with a church or something? You out here with a church? She's like, no, I'm just out here by myself. So that right there just showed me that she is really about the Most High. It's like, if y'all don't know, if you're from New Jersey, you know Newark. You know Newark. And then if you know Newark, if you know Newark, New Jersey, you know Penn Station. And Penn Station, you know how it gets down in that area and everything like that. So she was just down there. It was like 10, 11 o'clock at night, and she handed out sandwiches. So that just always just stuck. And that just always just stuck with me. Even when I gave her a flyer, like I thought about her after the fact. I would just think about her. And I would just think about her, but she never would call and everything like that. So, you know, her just being about the Most High is what made me want to go forward with her. Her just being, you know, supportive, like when the actual hunger that she had, you know, asking me questions and things like that. And then we finally like got a chance to sit down and actually, you know, be in front of each other. She stood me up the first time we were supposed to be together too. I always throw that in her face. It was one time we were supposed to link up, but she stood me up. But I'm glad she did. I'm glad she did. I maybe wasn't right at that time. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, her just being, you know, wanting to serve the Lord, wanting to learn more, wanting to be there and be a support for me, you know, that just always resonated with me and stuck with me, you know. So those are things and that was something I was asking the Most High for, you know. I was in, you know, I had been through different relationships. I was asking the Most High, you know, when it's the time, I want a woman that's going to walk with me, you know, and she was that woman. So, you know, we decided to move forward. And when we moved forward, it wasn't all peaches and cream. It wasn't peaches and cream. We had, you know, like I said, we still had certain things that we had to learn about each other, two different cultures, you know, me coming from the quote unquote African American culture, her coming from the quote unquote Dominican culture. She looked at me like, what? So we had these things that we had to work on, and other personal things and everything like that. So, and one thing that we did, we did have to work on, was communication.
Yep. So you jumped far ahead.
It's okay.
All right. So yeah, yeah. One of our biggest issues was, like you said, communication, and it got bad, y'all. It got really, really bad.
Sometimes. But the world wouldn't know.
The world wouldn't know.
The world wouldn't know.
But it got really bad.
And this is like the first, the first 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
The first 6 months to a year, Yeah.
Yeah. So we were, listen, we were having arguments, back to back, day after day for at different periods of time. It was like, and this was within 6 months of getting married, where this is supposed to be the year of bliss and the beautiful things and the dates and all the beautiful, all post-marriage stuff.
We had some of that.
We had some, but it lasted this long. And then life got real. But that goes back to the baggage stuff being addressed, right? So
and that also goes back to, being on, doing the Father's will, no divorce. You know what I'm saying? The scriptures say no divorce. So we could have easily been like, well, it's been 6 months, we're going through this,
right.
We're going through that. Let's just chalk it up. You go your way, I go my way,
right.
And let's split. But, we had that foundation of the Most High in Christ and the Holy Spirit. So, we knew that, we're not going nowhere. We're gonna work this out.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I had really bad communication habits. I'm not going to go into detail about what they are, but basically, sitting down and having a serious conversation to fix a problem was challenging for me. And it's because I did not address those things prior to getting married. And I'll leave it at that, right? So what he had to teach me to do was literally sit down like a grown woman and let's talk, right? And there were times where he had to get really stern, and I needed that, because I was quick to run away from a conversation, and that part just got really hard. It got really hard. Communicating got really hard. And another reason why we had communication issues is because of the whole subculture difference, right? So the quote unquote African American household versus the Dominican household. It was a lot of our disagreements were well, that's not how I grew up, and that's not how we do things. Mm-hmm. And it was with him, it was the same thing. It's well, this is how things need to get done, right? So we had to learn how to say, okay, take a little bit of what you got, take a little bit of what I got, and let's see what makes sense. Now, let's take what we learned in our subcultures and put them together and make it our own. And so it took a while, but we learned how to do that. The next thing was that one of the biggest issues we had was role clarity. That's the bomb dropper. So,
and a lot of people in relationships have role clarity right now. Before we even go to role clarity, no, we stay on role clarity because I was going to go back to communication. But role clarity, I just seen a post I believe yesterday or 2 days ago. Was Dwayne Wade, the basketball player, him and Gabrielle Union? He put that, I think it was yesterday today, that husband he doesn't lead in this marriage, So that shows you right there that there's no role clarity. You know what I'm saying? Or their role clarity is blurred. And with that, without it being role clarity, there's going to be confusion in the marriage. So if you're in a relationship right now, brothers and sisters that's listening, go to the scriptures and men learn your role, and sisters learn your role, and when you learn your role, men lead, women submit, right? It doesn't say that, well, the husband is supposed to be coming down on his woman for everything, and I said do it like this, so you better do it like that. No. It's not that kind of a thing like that. You know what I'm saying? So, but you definitely want to read the scriptures on role clarity, you know?
And that's where the world has it confused, you know? That's one of the things. And obviously, when we say role clarity, we literally mean like the role of the man and the role of the woman, right? And so, I mean, I have talks about this, you know, day and night with friends and things like that. And I mean, the world is in such a feminist mindset that it's hard for our community to move forward because of it. Right? And so the thing is that, you know, women come into a relationship. Meanwhile, they were told, you know, have your separate savings account in case of anything, be set up in case of anything, make sure you're in, you know, you can do you by yourself in case of anything. And there's in case of anything. And what people don't realize is when we're talking about this in case of anything, we're basically speaking divorce on that relationship. That's what we're saying. That's what we're telling them. You're going to get divorced. So in case you get divorced, be prepared for that.
And
right?
That's powerful that you said that. I never thought about that like that. Because you actually, you know, you're speaking things into existence and everything like that. Wow.
That's what's happening. And so as far as like, you know, with the role clarity, you know, I thought I understood my role. And so I came into the relationship and we got married and, you know, he's talking to me and I'm cutting him off.
And I had to get stern with him. I had to let him know, like, yo, that's not the way to go. And sometimes you say you gotta call a spade a spade. I would tell her right then and there, like, yo, you supposed to be submissive. Why you cut me off? Don't cut me off. And fellas, don't be nervous to put that stern hand down. Not physical hand, no physical hand, but to put that stern voice and raise your head up and say what you got to say and look in the eyes and be direct what you need to say at that point in time, you know, and don't back down. Especially if you know that you're in the right and you're trying to resolve an issue, you know?
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, too, is like, you know, we cannot, as women, I was just having this conversation with a friend. We cannot want to be Miss Independent and Miss Dominant and then want a man to lead us.
It ain't gonna work.
It doesn't work.
Because you got two dominant spirits clashing with each other. Mm-hmm. You know, the man being the male spirit already, and then the woman coming in with this dominant male spirit, it's gonna be clashing.
Yep, it's like picture a car. It only has one steering wheel. It does not have two, right? There's only one driver. Only one person says where the car is going, when we're turning, when we're not turning, when we're going in reverse, when we're parked, right? So, yeah, that was one of the biggest issues. And, you know, it's something that we have to keep learning and relearn, right? Because society played a major game on us. Mm-hmm. Played a major game on our men, on our women, and a lot of us, we think we know what we want, but we're not doing what needs to be done in order for that to work out, right? We want a relationship, you want it to work, but you're not doing the part that how can you have that relationship work if you're not playing the part that you're supposed to play, right? So if you have a team and only 11 people out of 12 or out of 14 people, out of 14 players know their part, those 3 players that don't know their part, they're going to mess the whole team up, right? So it's important that, I was just talking to someone about that. It's so important that we know our role. And I did not fully understand my role until he sat me down in meekness, with sternness, just as Christ loved the church, and corrected me the way that I needed to be corrected and showed me what I needed to see.
And I did that also with scriptures too. The scriptures say, you know, husbands deal with your wives according to knowledge. So, you know, a lot of those conversations, you know, when I had to show her, you know, her role, I would go straight to the scriptures. I would speak sternly, but I would also show the scriptures. Look, this is what the scriptures say right here. This is your role right here. This is what you should be doing. This is what I should be doing right here. You know what I'm saying? So I was also, checking myself. You get what I'm saying? And with this conversation that we having, I'm hoping that the couples that are on here, they can look within themselves and say, I need to work more. I need to be more of I need to be more of it. I need to step it up more. Or I'm saying, I need to be more submissive. I need to be more helpful towards him. Helpful with him,
Yep. And the thing about men is that they'll tell you what they need and what they want. And if you
I've been saying that my whole life. And when I say that, because men sometimes we don't want much. I mean, sometimes let's be real, man. We only really want like 5 things. We kind of know if you're a man on here, it's only like 5 things that we want. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna name it all. Maybe 7 at the most, but that's it. Just 5 to 7 things. Go ahead.
So if it's not clear to you what they want, just ask. Literally, just ask, like, what is it that you need from me? That's part of communication, is asking questions, right? What is it that you need from me? What is it that I'm not giving you that I could do more of, or what do you want me to fix, and things like that. And vice versa. You know what I'm saying? That it's a 2-way street. Relationship is a 2-way street,
And that's why the importance of communication. A lot of couples break up because of communication. They can't communicate. They can't stand each other because every time there's a disagreement, there's an argument, or every time it's a different. One thing that we had in the beginning was that, she may have an opinion about something, and I may have an opinion about something. The next thing you know, it's getting blown out of proportion because we just had different opinions. When we had to learn different techniques. Like, because we got different opinions, that don't mean we should be arguing or making something bigger than what it is. That's a spirit that's coming in between us, trying to tear us apart. So with certain techniques that we actually implemented in our relationship as far as communication. It's techniques that we implemented within our relationship as far as role clarity. So and I'll give you one tip for communication. Like you said, I would go to the Bible and go over certain things with her, and also this is one tip right here. When you ask. Sometimes what I'll do is, if there's a problem or I know that she's feeling a certain way, I'll ask her, what is it? And I'll have a pen and a piece of paper and I'll write it down. So she can just vent to me and I'll write it down. And one thing, sometimes what I'll do with that paper, I'll once I write it all down, I'll go back to her and have a okay, you said this, you was feeling this that way because of this. Now, when you look at this, I have a resolution, or I'll be able to resolve that issue right then and there, and just go down the checklist. And certain things, while reading it back to her, like, okay, you said it was this. You may have an issue with this, or you feel that way about this. And I read it back to her, and I'm like, well, is it really that bad? Or is you making something bigger than what it is? And it kind of humbles the spirit. It's like, you know what? Well, maybe it's not. I have nothing to worry about with that. So that's just one technique that that we use, that we've learned to use to help our communication a lot better and everything.
Yeah. So that's that. And the other issue that we had, one of the biggest, one of the boulders, is parenting decisions. So when my son was born, I became and I never thought I would be that, but I became a super paranoid, like, every little thing.
She was old, boy.
With my son. Like, everything. Down to who was around him, who was, like, close, like, who touched him, like, who looked at him, like, and I just, I just turned into a different person. And so that created a lot of conflict because he's not like that, right? And he is very logical. And he's like, Zakah, how does that make sense? Zakah. What is that gonna fix? What is this gonna do to him? What is, and he's already been a parent. So, I did look at him like, okay, you can teach me some things, but I also looked at it like, this is my baby. you know? So that caused a lot of different rifts. Like we had a lot of rifts because of that. And so we basically had to, like, as my son, you know, got older, I like calmed down, you know, calmed down some.
She calmed down some. She calmed down a lot. She calmed down a lot. But yeah, those are some riffs that we was having because, you know, it did certain things didn't make sense. And I understood where she was coming from because she was a first time parent. But, you know, some of those things, we had big disagreements over certain things. You know, it might have been over sneakers or something like that. It just I'm just throwing out that, you know, it would be foolish, but just saying, like, it would just be certain things that were so minor that because we didn't have communication, going back to communication,
right?
You know, we didn't know how to communicate these things with each other, and you know, she didn't know, you know, a little bit. Going back to trust, because you said trust was one of the issues. Like some people come into a relationship with trust issues. She trusted me in certain areas of life, but all areas she didn't. In dealing with the baby, you know, certain my judgments, certain my thoughts, she didn't trust. You know, and it was understandable. But we did have rifts and disagreements over that. You know what I'm saying? So we had to learn to work on those things. You know.
Yep.
So these are certain things that you should, you know, if you're in a relationship, you know, you definitely want to work on these things. And if you're not in a relationship, you need to be working on those things right now, you know? And, you know, if you are in a relationship, definitely, you know, communication is what destroys a lot of relationships. So you need to start working on how you guys communicate with each other, you know?
I mean, that's one of the biggest communication ties to everything. All of your decisions, you know, how you move forward every day. And communication is more than just talking, right? Communication is also listening. Listening is a part of communication. There's different types of communication, you know. If you are, you know, constantly, rolling your eyes, or if you are short with your sentences, you know, you're communicating something. You're communicating discomfort, or what's another word? Discomfort, or
attitude. She got an attitude.
Attitude, or, you know, just frustrated. So there are different types of communication that, you know, it's important that we learn. It's more than just what we're saying, what's coming out of our mouths, right? What we're doing is also communicating something to the person in front of you. So we had to work on that as well.
So those are different things that we worked on. But, you know, so those are some of the things, you know, with our story. But, you know, and it was more things we'll make, you know, go in depth and onto more things. And, but, you know, but now we're upcoming our 5-year wedding anniversary. 5-year wedding anniversary. All praise to the Most High. That's going to be coming up soon, June 13th. You know, I'm excited. We got some special planned. You know?
Yep.
Normally I surprise her, but this time I did surprise her, but I let her know what the surprise was.
So we decided to do something different this year.
Don't tell him, no.
Well, no, I'm going to say what it is. But what usually happens is, or what has been happening is, he'll surprise me. He'll, like, plan all this stuff, surprise me, and then I'll get something for him. And then it's my turn to do surprise, and then...
Last year, she didn't do no surprise because of COVID. We did something. We matter of fact, last year we went to Hoboken and just walked around Hoboken and got something to eat.
Yeah. And it was supposed to be my year to plan the thing, so...
And everything was shut down.
Yeah.
But go ahead, though.
What we decided to do is we're done with the surprising. We're done with the surprising for anniversary. Like, the anniversary is not about me. The anniversary is not about him. It's about us. So we agreed that we're not going to surprise each other for anniversary anymore. We're going to plan it together and make it great. So that's part of our teamwork.
And we're here to help marriages great again.
Yep.
We're going to make our marriage great. So, but yeah, hopefully, y'all enjoyed this video. Hopefully it's something that you can take in it and apply to your relationship, or you learn something from it, So, yeah, I mean, and And I would say, just going back to reiterate things that we touched on. If you're single, before you, not even, okay, if you're single, right, you need to be, doing the works of the Most High,
Yes.
right, and working on yourself, right. And while you're doing the works of the Most High, working on yourself, and once you work on yourself, you know what you want. The Most High is going to put you in the right place at the right time to meet that right person for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you and also when you're in a relationship, because we have people in that's in a relationship, whether you're married or you're courting or you're dating. If you're in a relationship right now, continue to do the works of the Most High and learn to work on yourselves. Yep, continue to do that, but also learn to work on your communication right now. Even if you're in a relationship, work on that communication, because so many divorces happen because of lack of communication.
Mm-hmm.
One spouse and we're grown-ups, one spouse may not be in the mood, the other spouse is always in the mood. Next thing you know, the spouse is always in the mood, is stepping out, because why? The other spouse is not in the mood, and nothing was communicated. Yep. Or just arguments is happening, and so communication. Learn to work on your communication and role clarity as well. You can always continue to learn your role clarity. Learning your role, becoming better in your role. Mm-hmm. Men becoming a better leader, becoming a better head of your household. Mm-hmm. Women becoming a more submissive or even a better helpmate. Mm-hmm. So these are things that need to be worked on.
And one thing I would add for singles, especially, even if you're not single.
What's that?
Like, even if you're married, if you have any trauma, like, that needs to be handled. You know, like, if you had a traumatic event in your life, and I speak from experience, go to therapy for that. Get counsel for that. Talk about it. Don't wait until you're in a relationship, or don't wait until later on in your marriage to talk about it. Don't wait too late. You want to open up that can of worms, start talking about it, express it to someone who has some level of value to you, right? And, just let it out, and find healing for that traumatic event, because trauma sticks with you if it doesn't get addressed, and if it doesn't, and it takes a while to heal as well. So you don't want to wait until you're far into your relationship to try to heal from a trauma that needed to be addressed
before you even
got in a relationship. So we'll drop that one. So drop your twos if you agree. Drop your twos. But yeah, that's that.
And you want definitely, like she said, let your spouse know, or that person you're dealing with know as well. You don't want to be years in a relationship and you found out, certain things happen, and you realize that's why the relationship is stagnant or not going the way it should be going, because of certain things happening. Going back to communication, being honest, and being vulnerable to that person. If you're going to spend the rest of your life with that person, you need to be able to be vulnerable with that person and be transparent with them and give them all that you have up in care. And up in care. You like the way I say up in here, didn't you? But yeah, so, with that being said, we thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for tuning in. If y'all have any questions, we'll take some questions real quick. Thank y'all for tuning in. Please, if you can, share it when you share it now, or tomorrow come back. It's gonna be on our post. Go ahead and like it and share it. Leave a comment. We thank y'all for tuning in.
Yes, thank you for dropping your twos, engaging with us. It was really motivating, and we appreciate y'all.
All right, peace and blessings from Christ Lifestyle. We out.